All right. Hello and welcome to a different kind of video for this channel. Um, we're going to be talking about my upcoming project of creating a new army to play in Age of Sigmar. Um, so I've always wanted to play um, the Fire Slayers. Um, I like how they play. I like how they synergize with each other, um, and I like a lot of like their rules. Um, so I want to kind of dive into this army and play it. But the thing that was always kind of stopping me was the aesthetic. I don't not really like the naked dude aesthetic of them. I mean, especially like as a painter, that I like painting miniatures. Like painting a bunch of just naked dwarves doesn't really kind of sell me on it that much as fun. So what we're gonna do is we're going to basically use a lot of existing Games Workshop lines of models to create a dwarf army that will be counts as Fire Slayer's army. So this is kind of like my dream army. There's a couple channels doing this kind of stuff right now, um, but I don't know if they're as in depth as mine is going to be or whatever. But I'm just doing this my way. So yeah, so we're gonna make a Fire Slayer's army in the aesthetic of that I'm kind of going for. But before we get started here, we'll go into the list of what we're going to be building. So it's 2,000 points, of course, because match play. Um, we're going to be playing the Hermdar Lodge, which is, I have the codex in front of me. I can give more specifics of these things as we go, I guess. Um, the Hermdar Lodge is pretty cool. You get to you don't have to take battle shock tests for any units that are wholly within 12 inches of an objective, so that's really good. So I won't have to worry about failing battle shock as much. They get a cool command ability, Skull Breakers and Oath Takers. I get to use it at the start of the combat phase. I get to pick one friendly Berserker squad or Hearthguard Berserker, Volkite Berserkers or Hearthguard Berserkers within 12 of a hero, and they get to fight at the start of the combat phase before anyone picks any unit. So that's really cool. I get to jump the line and start right away, even if it's not my turn. I have to take a command trait, the Warrior and Dominant, and that's anyone that's attacking this guy is minus 1 to wound, so they'll have to. It's harder for them to hit him. And then the artifact they get is the Tyrant Slayer that I get to put on a hero, and then I get to reroll wound attacks for attacks made by the person that has it, and any roll of a 6 that is on a hero that I get gets to do a 1 mortal wound in addition to normal damage. So that's really cool. I mean, I saw this list on Rerolling Ones. That's like the main channel that I watch for Age of Sigmar stuff. I really like them. I really like what the content they put out. But I saw Brent playing this army, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. I like this list. So I'm gonna go with this list, and I might change it up later on. But so we're starting off with Auric Runefather on Magmadroth as our main general guy. This guy is pretty dope. He's got throwing axes. He's got fire breath, claws and horns, maws, like a blazing maw on the dragon, and a big old grand axe. So that's cool. Um, then we're gonna get into like the little Buffy units, the Rune Smiter, Rune Master. These are all heroes, by the way. So it's a really like hero central army. Battlesmith, uh, and then a Grimwrath Berserker, Doomseeker, and then we're gonna ally in a Knight Incantor for some spells since dwarves do not have magic. Um, that's the seems to be the constant fantasy rule, right? That dwarves don't have magic. So we'll get some in there. So we'll be able to do some dispels and stuff like that. For our battle line, we're going to be taking two units of 20 Volkite Berserkers. One of them is going to have hand axes and sling shields. The sling shields are pretty cool. Once you get into once you charge into combat, they get to throw their shields and do extra like ranged damage to people before you fight. And the Volkite Berserkers get to reroll. These ones with the pair of hand axes, they get to reroll their hits, I think. So that's pretty cool. The Berserkers are really cool. They have the bladed pole axes. They will be kind of like a backline unit. They'll come in with the rune smiter, I think. They'll kind of like teleport behind enemy lines, and they can do like a lot of damage because of their weapons are pretty strong. The Hearthguard Berserkers with the Flame Strike Pole Axe, yeah, because it's the same thing as my leader guy thing. With the any rolls of 6 get to do 2 mortal wounds on in addition to regular damage when I hit, so that's pretty crazy. And then these little 5 Hearthguard right here are going to have the magma pikes, so it's just a ranged unit that I can have that'll help me shoot stuff. All these guys get to, I should mention, also have throwing axes, so they all get to, it's an 8-inch attack, but I mean they all have ranged of some sort, so that's pretty cool. And then they'll be able to kick butt in melee too. And then we'll take some endless spells of the runic firewall, which I think just it blocks line of sight and stuff like that, so people can't just come around and murder my dude. So I can use it as like an area denial kind of thing. And then the Molten Infernoth is cool because you get to move it, and whatever it touches, it takes takes d6 mortal wounds. So that's pretty cool. I was trying to maybe fit a War Scroll battalion in here, and instead of, I don't know if you know, if you guys might not know what the Warhammer does, but you have to place all these guys down individually. Like, so this is 1 drop, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on, right? Like, so when in tournaments you want to finish setting up first, so you can pick who goes first. So whatever is inside of a battalion, you get to drop all at once. So if I can get a battalion that has like all of these guys and these guys in it, then I'm not dropping as many things during a tournament. But it doesn't really matter. And I also didn't want to get rid of the Knight Incantor because dispelling is really powerful to be able to do. So I didn't want to really mess with it too much. And I can always mess with it later. So I'm only 1980 points, and I have 156 wounds total for everything in this army. It's pretty cool. We get the Doomseeker will have the artifact, by the way. He's gonna be my killy boy. So I didn't say artifacts there, but that's fine. But yeah, so I think I'm pretty happy with this list how it is. And so let's kind of go into like the ideas and the thoughts for this army. So for this army, I didn't want to go like traditional, dwarf type style. So like, I mean, like they live in mountains. Like for Fire Slayers, right? They live deep in the mountains, like with the lava and stuff like that. And I wanted to do more like a royal type of dwarf that maybe lives outside, lives kind of with the earth, and they create, and they're just part of the Fire Slayers faction, right? So I like this like concept of like this is kind of like where they're from, like just kind of get a feel of like the colors, and things like that. So we're gonna go just like that, like more less traditional dwarf, but still like dwarfy, if that makes sense. So then once we get that done, so we're gonna go. I'm kind of stuck between some color schemes right now. I was looking at these. This is like this color scheme. I like it because it's green, and green's my favorite color. But I feel like a lot of my armies are green, especially I don't know. There's a lot of gold on them, and I wasn't really feeling the gold look. I'll have to see it on an actual model, but I think what we're going to end up going with is this one. And it's more, like I was saying, like that more royal type of feel to it, more elite. So like I want like really vibrant red cloaks with some gold trim and some like like a little bit of blue in there. But I like the silver armor more than I like the gold armor. And then just little bronze bits here and there. But I think this is kind of more like the look that we're going for. The army, how I'm going to be doing it. So like I said, it's going to be more of like a kit bash kind of style of army, using lots of bits from kits. I'm going to use Fire Slayer bits for sure. I mean, so for the most part, all the like, if I can swing it right, all the heads are going to be still the Fire Slayer heads. So they're all going to have like those cool. Um, Let me go back to this. They're all going to have the cool mohawk with like the armor on it, and like their beards are still going to be there, of course. Like I've looked at most of the models that I want. All the heads are separate on them, and all the beards aren't built into the bodies of like the models that I'm going to be going for. So this seems like it's going to be doable of like having the heads still be the Fire Slayer heads. um, the weapons, for the most part, are probably going to be arm swaps. So again, looking at the model kits that I'm going to be using, the bodies are separate from the arms. So I'll be able to just get their arms and glue them on and have them still have like the Fire Slayer weapons. So we're still going to have Fire Slayer weapons and Fire Slayer heads on the models. But the models themselves are going to be going into like the dispossessed models for the dwarfs. Now, one thing I haven't quite figured out yet is the scale and if they work correctly with each other. Because the Fire Slayers are on bigger bases, but the then the what's called Cities of Sigmar dwarves, and the Cities of Sigmar dwarves are older, and I'm not sure if they're gonna work, but we'll see. I have some models coming, so I'll be able to kind of make that decision. If they don't work, we'll kind of have to reconvene and figure out what we're gonna do from there. Or if we just like that kind of super heroic style of like really big arms to like little baby bodies, like we'll have to see what that looks like as we move on. So the first model that we are going to be converting is going to be the Runefather on the Magmadroth. Um, this model is really cool. I like it. I like the dragon. Like I said, I just don't like the naked dwarves. um, so, but the thing is, for like my army, they're being outside, not really lava-y based, is that the dragon doesn't really fit. The Magmadroth doesn't really fit with them. So I was thinking of alternatives, and so this is actually, hold on, yeah. So we've gone with a bear. So he's going to be on a bear mount, and that's going to be the kind of proxy for the Magmadroth. I really like the idea of dwarves riding bears. I think that's way cooler than a dragon. So I think it's going to work out really well. We're still going to have all the this bit right here on it. I've ordered all these bits from eBay. I can't find this actual saddle part, but I ended up just 3D printing it. I modeled it and 3D printed it, so it kind of an approximation of it that's pretty good. So the thing is, you're like, oh hey, but it has like a dragon breath and like it has a lashing tail attack. Like, how are you gonna get those things on a bear? Because last I checked, bears don't breathe fire and have a giant tail, which you're 100% right. So what I've thought of for the breath is that I have a Cadron Overlord's army, and there's a group of people in that army called Thunders, and they have a kind of flamethrower on that unit. It's called the Fumigator, Ethermetic Fumigator kind of thing. So I have an extra one of those that I was thinking about probably mounting somewhere onto the saddle or on the side of the bear to make it like there's a flamethrower on the bear. So that's going to cover that. The flame breath, kind of like proxy the flame breath. As for the tail, I have a flail bit that I'll probably like put somewhere on the bottom of this that's kind of like attached to it, because this is a big axe. He could theoretically go 3 inches with an extra flail on the end of it, but we'll see how that looks when we get there. I ordered these arms, so I have these arms and this head already here. So And tomorrow my guy should be coming, which you've already seen it. This is going to be the guy that is on top of the bear. So he'll be standing in for this guy. So he'll have this head, this weapon, but this body and cloak and stuff. So this beard won't be here. These arms will probably be different, and then this is part. I think this is part of the head, but so we're not using the head, so don't worry about that. So he'll be on top of the bear, and I think that's going to look really cool. I'm hoping it looks really cool. I'm hoping the proportions line up with the model and like how his arms are and stuff like that. So we'll see. I've looked at this model. I know that these are all different parts, so I think I can get away with it. But we'll find out tomorrow for me. So except we're getting on a bear. So the bear, that was a problem, right? Where is there a bear miniature, and is it big enough to proxy as a Magmadroth, right? Like how big is a Magmadroth? I measured it. It's about as tall as a orc on a Maw Crusher, which I happen to have that model, so I measured it to find out how big it was. So I had that measurement, and there was some cool models from, I think Cybor makes some really cool bears with like dwarfs on top of them already. But you know that doesn't really fit with. There's a couple of problems with that, right? One is I didn't know if the bear, how big the bear was, because it doesn't have height or anything on there, so it could be like a little baby bear, and that's not cool. That's not fun. You want to proxy this giant monster, and you have a little baby bear on there on this big base. It won't look cool. Another thing was that the guy was already on it, and you know that doesn't make any room for this little saddle piece and all these little cool Fire Slayer bits in there, right? Like the fire and javelins and stuff like that. So again, we went to 3D printing. I found a cool bear model on my mini factory. I purchased it, and I printed it, and it's awesome looking. It's really cool. I did have to split it in half, just because I didn't want the print to fail on any of these little details or anything like that. So what I ended up doing was gluing it together, of course, and then green stuffing like a little like saddle-y bit, like this little, I think it's called a bridle, I'm not sure, but you know, like a little pad that this stuff sits on top of. So I've sculpted that on him already. He's ready to go, and that'll be in like the next video. You'll see us putting together this guy. For this video series, we're going to be doing everything. I'm showing the actual like creation of the models, so like the kit bashing and gluing, so the assembly part, and then the painting parts, of course. So hopefully you guys like it. But this is kind of like my dream army, so I'm just kind of going for it. Let me see, this is number 4. Did I have a 5th one? Okay, no. And then so yeah, that covers this guy. The second guy that I've already kind of got my eyes on was the Rune Master. Unfortunately, I didn't win. I was trying to win some parts. I mean, this model on eBay for pretty cheap. Didn't win. But you know, same thing. We're looking for this head, this dragony bit, and like this piece is really iconic. We want this, and we don't really need this arm, but we are going to be using those parts on this model. This is the Rune Priest model for the Dispossessed. I already have this model in hand, so it's going to be really easy to. And they look similarly posed, if you can. So I think that this will be easy to get away with that conversion. Just arm swap, and then head swap. This might be a problem, this beard, but we'll kind of tackle that when we get there, because I don't know if this beard is part of the armor. I'm pretty sure it is. Actually, we can check really quick. We can just do a boop. And let's go to Games Workshop, and let's go to here, order. Let's see the Sigmar, Dwarden, this guy. We can actually look at the sprue here. Okay, it is separate. Great. So that makes it easy. I'll probably just be able to pop his head off and put it together easily that way. Cool. Let's go back here, and then for the battle line, right? That's like the bulk of this army. Like the heroes, of course, we want to look cool. I think the heroes are what we're going to be tackling first, since I want them to look right. But like I said, unfortunately, some of these bits have been pretty hard to find currently. So I'm looking on Reddit, I'm looking on eBay. So it's going to be a little slow process. I mean, we'll still have the little videos, the other videos that I usually do in between, probably. So these updates will probably be, we'll see how they go. But every time I get parts in and do the conversion stuff, I'll definitely be filming them and definitely be putting them up for the channel. So that's going to be fine. So let's go look at the Hearthguard. So for the Hearthguard, these are what they look like. We want these arms, we want these heads, weapons, all that stuff. And the model that I'm going to be like kind of using as the base for them to be putting on, same thing for these guys. The same thing it's the same kit. It'll have the gun arms. But we're going to be putting it on the iron breakers, I think they are. So these are like the two-handed weapon wielding guys. Their arms are separate. Their bodies are built for having a two-handed weapon in them. But like I said, they look really small, so we'll see what happens when we get to this little spot. But I like the armor. I like the the little dwarfy bits on their armor. I mean, the arms probably aren't going to be used, so we'll probably just have the armory bits, these little scale mill type stuff. And then the berserkers, which is the bulk of our army, which are these guys. What they kind of look like is it's all blurry like that. But we're going to be using the hammers, I think is what they're called. It's not switching to the next thing, so we'll be using the hammers, which is the same thing. So you can see they're armored, and they can have they're built with two hands separately. The shields are separate, everything's separate, so I'll be able to put their arms there, and the different heads. So I think this is going to be a fun project. I hope you guys think it's going to be cool. Let me know if you have any ideas in there, if you know any other bit spots that will ship to the United States, because there's the British ones that I was on that don't ship to the United States, and a lot of these bits are kind of getting hard to find. So I need a lot, right? So I'm going to need 40 Volkite Berserker bits, right? And then 15 Hearthguard bits, pairs of bits, right? And then all the heroes. So like I said, it's going to be a while, but I think it's going to be cool, and I think you're going to like it, and I'm going to like it for sure. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like and comment if you feel like it. Thanks.